KZ fam, I'm back with another video, and we got the full manga fight: Inosuke, Kanao, and Shinobu versus Doma. Thank you guys so much for all your support, man. I appreciate every single one of y'all. We have just hit 8K. Like I said in the last video, man, I really do appreciate y'all. And if y'all want me to keep doing these manga videos, it doesn't have to be Demon Slayer. It could be something else. Like, low-key, I've been wanting to do some Black Clover because, bro, I don't know when the hell Black Clover is coming out. You know what I'm saying? With more anime episodes. So we could do some Black Clover because that's one of my favorite animes. We could do whatever y'all want me to do in the manga. You know what I'm saying? But thank you guys so much for everything. If you're new to the channel, you're into the content, make sure to hit that sub button, hit those likes, and turn on noti bells so you can get notified whenever I drop a video. And don't forget, down in the description, we have the link to all my socials and the Patreon where we do daily Bleach episodes. But yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie. Let's get into it.
Shinobu catches the scent of blood. As she opens the door, she
I know we
witnesses
saw the
none
fan
other
animations
than the upper rank 2 demon Doma devouring a group of women. As the leader of the Eternal Paradise Faith, he believes to be offering a solution to his disciples' pain by giving them death. One of them begs for her life, which enrages Doma, who then tries to kill the woman before Shinobu intervenes and saves her. However, it's all for nothing, as the young woman explodes and dies in front of the Hashira. The Upper Moon 2 then reveals his weapons, 2 large, sharp fans. Angered by how insane he is, Shinobu asks Doma if he remembers her Hayori coat. Reminding him of her dead sister, the demon teases Shinobu about how he never got round to finishing eating her even though he wanted to. But in the blink of an eye, Shinobu thrusts her blade towards Doma and impales his eye before the demon could even react. He jokes at how she needs to cut off his head, but is swiftly shut up as the poison on the tip of her blade begins to kick in. He bends over and begins to cough up piles of blood, but manages to break down the poison in his body before it can do a deadly amount of damage. Doma begins to see the fun side of it all, believing being poisoned to be an interesting experience that he could make a habit out of. This further forces Shinobu into a corner due to Doma quickly adjusting his body and developing antibodies, making him mostly immune already. To make matters worse, Doma's ice-based blood demon art had made it more and more difficult for Shinobu to breathe. In just a matter of 5 attacks, the seemingly upper hand that she had was now lost. Realizing her odds of winning are getting worse with each passing second, Shinobu hedges her bets on injecting a significant amount of poison to kill the demon. She successfully hits him with her insect breathing, causing Doma to label her as the fastest Hashira he had ever seen. As impressive as it is that Shinobu connected with her attack, it's not all good news, as Doma simultaneously attacks her, cutting both her collarbone and ribs whilst also puncturing one of her lungs. He continues to joke with Shinobu, telling her that if she was strong enough to sever his head, she could have won by now. This causes the Hashira to relive the insecurities about her own body and how if she'd just been born taller and stronger, this would all be over, as she'd have the physical strength needed to follow through and behead a demon without the need for a poison-tipped blade. Because of this, Shinobu, who is practically at her wit's end, almost giving up on winning, tries to find courage by repeating her older sister's words of inspiration to herself. You can do this, so do your best. With this, the insect Hashira rises to her feet, much to the surprise of Doma, who is approaching to politely land the finishing blow. Despite already coughing up enough blood to ordinarily kill someone her size, Shinobu prepares for her next attack. Insect breathing, dance of the centipede, 100-legged zigzag. Her movements become so fast that Doma can no longer predict where she will attack from. Thus, he blindly swings his fist, but it's dodged by Shinobu, who replies with an attack of her own. A calculated jab directly into his neck, sending Doma up into the ceiling. But yet again, this only made him more playful and Shinobu more angry. After expending almost all of her energy, Doma hugs Shinobu, crying from her admiration despite fighting such a pointless battle. He offers her the chance to say some final words. I can't do it, bro. To which Shinobu maliciously.
I know I've already seen the animation to this, but look at him hugging her, bro. Like, you just know she's dead as hell as soon as he even like
tells the demon, "Go to hell." Doma tightly squeezes as the sound of her bones breaking can be heard. Her body goes limp and her sword falls to the ground as Kanao enters the room, screaming for her master. The insect Hashira's final move was giving her student a hand signal only she could understand to help give her the upper hand against this evil creature.
What was the hand signal?
The upper rank 2 had done to her beloved master sends Kanao into a berserk fit of rage.
Wait, however, what was that signal?
An infuriated Doma deters her attack and tells Kanao to not interfere whilst he's absorbing someone. Bathing in the happiness of yet another delightful woman appearing before him to be his next meal, Doma successfully consumes Shinobu's body until all that is left is a butterfly-shaped hairpiece. Kanao introduces herself as Shinobu's sister. Meanwhile, Akaza dies to Tanjiro, which Doma senses. He begins to sob over losing his friend, but Kanao simply urges him to quit sprouting lies. She calls out that Doma, being a demon, is incapable of feeling any real emotion. His entire life was him merely pretending to be human with no reason for him to be born at all.
Bro, she's actually
Doma's
so
usually cheerful demeanor is drowned out by a disgusted feeling against Kanao's foul mouth. Whilst this just urges her to continue trash talking him, Doma quickly appears behind her, centimeters away from cutting off her head with his fan. She quickly dodges though and strikes him in the stomach, causing some of his organs to spill out. Whilst this seemingly unfazed him, Doma does notice that her reaction speed has increased and that she is adapting to his fighting style. Following the demise of Shinobu, Kanao has learned to avoid breathing in his frozen mist, which is when Doma realizes that the girl he is facing may well be even more powerful than the Hashira that came before her.
That's crazy.
Meanwhile, Kanao's anger continues to spiral out of control. Her skin starts crawling, her body trembling, burning, her throat boiling. Everything about Doma is making her want to scream. For the first time in her life, she had unlocked a feeling.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Doma became a demon, apparently, just for the fun of it. Like, just because he wanted to. Like, he just didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. I feel like I heard that somewhere. Like, he's just a menace, bro. Like he's different.
Anger. She curses Doma and fires off 9 consecutive attacks, but to no avail as Doma counters with the same. However, there was something that caught his eye. Kanao's ability to counter and avoid his attacks is solely due to her own keen eyesight, which she uses to observe the subtle movements of his shoulders, line of sight, toes, elbows, and knees to anticipate what he will do next.
That's
Not only is she astute, but she's even capable of things the average swordsmen are incapable of. Thus, Doma deduces that his best bet is to blind her. However, Kanao yet again dodges the strike at the final moment. He tries to freeze her eyes, but again she is able to react by closing them in time. Whilst it seems like she's doing well, it's pointed out by Doma that Kanao is merely just dodging and moving further and further away from her opponent, meaning she can't get close enough to chop off his head. It's at this moment Doma takes it up a notch. Suddenly he disappears, and before Kanao can even have a chance to compute what has happened, he reappears again with a Nichiren blade in hand. In an attempt to draw Kanao in closer, Doma firmly plants her sword into the ground and continues to attack. However, thanks to directions from his Kusugai crow, Inosuke enters from the ceiling above and protects Kanao. He announces his intention to kill Doma and be crowned as Hashira, telling Kanao that if she's not careful, she will get injured, which would make Shinobu angry. However, it's at that moment he sees the young girl's face drop, telling him all he needed to know, that Shinobu did not make it out alive. Nevertheless, Doma claims that just like everyone he devours, Shinobu lives on within him. As Kanao informs him not to breathe the air around them, Inosuke recalls the time Shinobu helped stitch him up. Thus, in a burning fit of furious rage, he charges towards the upper rank 2 demon, dodging his attack with his inhumane flexibility. As Doma takes interest in his unique fighting style, he fails to realize that Inosuke had retrieved Kanao's katana from before him. Seeing that he's faster than he originally anticipated, Doma makes an advance on Inosuke as the two go head to head in a high-speed 1v1. Doma takes a kick to the stomach and is forced wrist backwards. To make up for the distance between them, Inosuke tries out a new technique where he dislocates all the joints in his arm to extend his reach with a wild slash. However, he misses the demon's neck and only manages to cut his eyes. Doma frantically claims that in all his 100 plus years, he had never seen anybody like Inosuke until now. As Inosuke explains that it's obvious due to him being the only Lord Inosuke, Doma suddenly leaps forward and grabs his mask from his head. When the demon notices his face, he states he recognizes Inosuke from somewhere and claims that they had previously met. Inosuke disputes this, but Doma recalls his interaction with Inosuke's mother 15 years prior. At the age of 17 or 18, she ran away from home with a baby in hand after constant abuse from her husband. After joining his paradise faith, her beautiful looks made a lasting impression on Doma, hence how Inosuke's face seemed so familiar due to their close resemblance. This enrages Inosuke, who still believes to have been raised by boars as he attacks. However, Doma easily counters it by slicing his chest. He continues his story and apologizes for eating her as he never intended to, due to how great it was having someone so pure by his side. She would often hold baby Inosuke in her arms and sing to him. This song resonated with Inosuke, who finally began to remember his mother. In spite of that, she discovered the truth behind Doma's cult and thus ran away from his temple. In her frantic escape, she came to a cliff edge. As Doma approached her, she turned around and waited for his finishing blow in a flood of tears, full of regret, knowing she'd never see her young boy grow up. However, her final act of motherhood was to drop Inosuke off the cliff and into the water below to save him from Doma, who believed it'd be impossible for such a young child to survive the fall. Inosuke becomes teary-eyed as he recalls the time he spent with his loving mother, whilst Doma purposefully teases him, labeling her life as pointless and miserable. A provoked Inosuke then declares how cutting off Doma's head will not be enough. He will send him straight to hell. The two begin to fight while...
First of all, how did Inosuke survive being a baby in the water? Come on, bro. I actually want to know that. Second of all, Doma, he's crazy, bro.
Kanao tries to catch the demon off guard, yet no luck. Kanao's attack is halted before she can even get it off, and Doma flees towards the exit. As Akaza has fallen, he no longer has time to play. Thus, Doma creates clones of himself to keep the two demon slayers busy. Before leaving to avoid a scolding from Muzan, Doma creates a few more clones to spread throughout the castle and help defeat the other Hashira. Inosuke begins to panic at the thought of letting Doma escape due to how difficult it is facing just his clones. Nonetheless, Kanao reassures him that they just need a moment longer. Unsure by what she meant by this, Doma thinks nothing much of it and opens the door. However, as he does, his face begins to melt away. Shinobu's true plan had finally begun to take shape. In a flashback, it is revealed that the insect Hashira had been putting a wisteria poison made by Tamayo inside her body for over a year in preparation to face the demon who killed their sister. She knew Doma couldn't resist to absorb her, meaning the unprecedented 37 kilograms of poison, which is 70 times the lethal amount, would take effect. His bones begin to melt and his clones start to vanish. In order to not let Shinobu's sacrifice be in vain, Kanao and Inosuke coordinate their attacks to try and cut off his head to ensure their victory, which is when Doma reveals his trump card. This was his most powerful technique he had in his arsenal. However, it lacked precision. It was merely an act of desperation to allow Doma time to try and regenerate. Kanao noticed this and retaliated by unleashing her own trump card, Equinoctial of the Million Eye, a technique that raises the user's kinetic vision to its maximum. Whilst using this power, Kanao perceives the world as if it were in slow motion. However, usage of the technique is highly dangerous as the tremendous strain on the eyes can cause...
Bro, it looks dangerous. You saw her eyes, bro? All red and shit. Look at that. It looks dangerous.
However, usage of the technique is highly dangerous as the tremendous strain on the eyes can cause blood vessels to rupture and lead to partial or complete blindness. Nevertheless, this technique helps Kanao avoid Doma's last-ditch attempts at survival and jam her blade into his neck. Despite this though, she cannot cut through due to Doma freezing the blade in place. However, on the spot, Inosuke creates and uses Sudden Throwing Strike to launch his blades at Kanao's to give it the extra strength needed to cut through Doma's neck. taking it clean off.
Yo.
In complete disbelief, the powerful upper rank demon could not believe that his time has seemingly run out. He is not afraid of death, nor is he frustrated that he lost as he begins to recall his childhood. His dad had a...
Apparently, too, Doma could have probably... Cause as an upper rank demon, sheer will can regrow your... can regenerate your head. That's what some of y'all said. So apparently Doma had lost his will and he didn't even try to regrow it. You know what I'm saying? But he probably could have if he had the will to. But he just didn't care, bro.
A plethora of women followers devoted towards him, much like Doma did as a demon. Because of this, the mother violently murdered her husband. However, this meant nothing to Doma. All he cared about was how bad it smelt and the mess the blood caused. It was then he realized he never had any form of human emotion. That was until his dying moments. Doma met with Shinobu in the realm of nothingness, a place where the dead go before moving on to heaven or hell. He questions if this is what true love feels like as he confesses to her before asking the Hashira to go with him to hell. Meanwhile, as Kanao fishes out Shinobu's hairpiece, the two sisters congratulate her on the victory in spirit form before disappearing forever. And so, both Kanao and Inosuke's largest battle and biggest achievement had come to an emotional yet successful conclusion.
What a coincidence, bro. Like, Doma kills Shinobu and Kanao's sister, and also Inosuke's mother. That is literally insane, bro. Like, this man, Doma is crazy, bro. He deserved that shit, but like, man. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, this fight was fire. And Inosuke, dislocating all his joints and shit, that was crazy. I ain't gonna lie, that was crazy. I know he can do that, but like, bro. Like, all of them is insane. I ain't even gonna lie. But anyways, KZ fam, like I said, suggest more manga stuff down in the comments, or if y'all want to see that, you know what I'm saying? But thank you guys so much for everything. Stay positive, stay healthy, and most definitely, excuse me, keep that strong mentality, man. Out.
There we go.